Hi guys, welcome to Olivia's Blooms. My name is Olivia. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia, Zone 7A, Central Virginia. And why did I start this channel, Olivia's Blooms? So first let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am not a lifetime gardener. For the first 37 years of my life, just not really a lot of interest in gardening, didn't think I had the green thumb, but during COVID, like a lot of you, I just decided to try it, and I fell in love. I work full-time, I have a career in federal government, and this is just something that I do as a hobby. But because of so many amazing resources, a lot of which were on YouTube, and I'm talking about free resources, I was able to learn quickly and have a ton of success. And I think that's part of the reason why I fell in love with gardening as well. So my hope is that by starting this channel and just sharing my garden and what I'm doing in my garden with you, that I can inspire some confidence in some of you that maybe are interested and want to try it, to get out there and try it, because I think a lot of you will fall in love with it too. I also hope that I can connect people that are interested with the amazing resources that are out there, and I'll link some of those below. Maybe you'll learn something new, because that's how I learned, was by watching others, and hopefully make you laugh as well. So to just start and kind of introduce you to me and my garden, I'm just going to give you a really informal tour. Not going to go through every single plant and every variety. I don't have a huge garden, it's a small suburban garden, but we'll have lots of time to get to know each other and know every single variety of plant I have. So with that said, I am so glad you came and joined my channel, and welcome to my garden. We're starting here on my deck. This is my house. I don't know why you'd want to see my house, but if you're nosy like me, you want to see every part of a gardener's life. Here's just some pots. So we're starting here in the middle of July. Kind of cheating because you're not really seeing how everything started. I started a lot of things from seed. My husband and I spent a ton of time planting new plants. So this is a very young garden. We've been in this house for about 1 year, and as you can see, a lot of the plants are still pretty small. I planted a lot of annuals this year to fill in the space where some of our perennials will hopefully eventually grow. And you can see I have a lot of cut flowers because I love making arrangements. So here we've got some Queen Anne's lace, and interestingly, this is actually some seed that I foraged back at our old house. We have Queen Anne's lace just growing wild around here. And so I grabbed some seed heads last summer and just threw some and said, hey, I'm interested to see if this will actually grow. So I use these for cut flower fillers, and this is actually my favorite stage to use them in, maybe a little bit greener. I threw a ton of Queen Lime zinnias in my garden this year. I love them, and I'll talk more about those. You'll see me harvesting a lot of those this time of year. I have 2 grapevines, and they are just being decimated by Japanese beetles. We are really struggling with those this year. We have some grapes. I don't know how well they're going to turn out because of, as you can see, the skeletonized leaves. But my husband and I are trying very hard to manually get rid of the Japanese beetles. We try not to spray if we don't have to. Here's some more Queen Lime zinnias. My husband is a huge fan of evergreens, especially evergreen shrubs. You'll see a lot of those. I love dahlias. These are just starting to bloom, but they don't tend to love this heat. So I'm hoping to get some real good blooms out of those probably in August when dahlias typically start blooming. This is a cherry tree, again, decimated by Japanese beetles. So I'm gonna show you everything, not just what looks beautiful. I've got a small first-year peony, some beautiful coral phlox. This coral is one of my favorite colors. This Rudbeckia I started from seed. The variety name is escaping me, but it's got the green center and this gorgeous sort of double yellow bicolor petals. I don't love using these in arrangements. They look beautiful in the landscape. I might grow these again from seed for that reason, but I've found them hard to use in cut flower arrangements. Got some beautiful sedum, some petunias that don't seem to be loving. I think they're probably getting too much water. We get a ton of rain here in Charlottesville. So those haven't been happy. A climbing rose that I'm contemplating taking out. I love roses, but they have been really hard to grow with the Japanese beetles. It seems to be the Japanese beetles' favorite snack. Oh, and here's a very important character. This is Chase. We have a lot of gardening companions here in my household. Chasey, say hi. Hi, Chase. He's got an interesting story. So Chase, for 7 years was an indoor cat, and when we moved to this property, he decided, you know what, I'm just gonna be an outdoor cat now. I didn't know cats could do that, but here he is. So you'll see him a lot outside here in the garden. This is a gorgeous lavender plant that the bees are loving. Back here is some larkspur that is pretty much done now, but I am letting it go to seed because I am hoping that these seeds will spread and come back again next year. And actually these plants, they were gorgeous. You can see sort of one of the last blooms. Larkspur loves it here. I have not had success growing delphinium, but larkspur loves this, our soil and our weather. And what I found is that according to Lisa Mason Ziegler's principles of, here's some of the seeds. I've just been opening them and spreading them around, but Cool Flowers, which if you are not familiar with her Cool Flowers book, you definitely need to get it. But larkspur really does well if you do a fall planting, let it overwinter as a small plant, and then in the spring I just got tons and tons of gorgeous spikes for cutting and to enjoy in the landscape. And now I'm just showing you a dead plant for like 5 minutes straight, so I guess we'll move on. Another one of my husband's shrubs. This is actually one of the prettiest combinations going on in my garden right now. This is a Proven Winners, I can't remember if it's a Supertunia, but it's the Bordeaux, and it always does well for me in the landscape. And here I just threw some alyssum, royal carpet seeds on the ground, and those are both sort of in their prime right now. Oh, and there's Chase again. Hi, Chase. Some Corinth I started from seed for foliage. Did not do great, but this soil here is, it's really not good. It's something we'll be working on, and I'll talk more about that. But I did get a few stems off of the Corinth. We've got a Baptisia. In the back, I planted a bunch of sunflowers. My beautiful little sister Hannah gave me a big packet of sunflower seeds and it was a big mix. So I've just planted those in the back here to grow up along the fence. We'll just start calling these Kelly shrubs. That's my husband Kelly. Here's another Kelly evergreen shrub. Some feverfew that I've been cutting off of. A peach tree decimated by the Japanese beetles. We had one good peach that my husband saw a squirrel take and run away with. So hopefully we'll get some next year, but it's a new tree, so we weren't expecting a ton of fruit this year. These have been so fun to cut. These are Shasta daisies. I believe the variety is Sante. I've got 3 of those. Some more queen lime, or I think that's just the lime zinnia. Some Venere's giant purple. And this area is pretty bare. We have a little bit of columbine, a clematis that's not loving its life. Apologies for the lighting. Some wintergreen. So I threw a bunch of pansy seeds under this beautiful American beech tree. So hopefully we'll see a little understory there of some beautiful pansies here in the fall. Here's some more annuals. I believe that's Terrenia grape something. And here we're moving sort of into the shade area of our garden. We have a bird bath that desperately needs to be cleaned out. I'll zoom in on it for you. Sad. At least we have some bees here. That's good. We want bees in our garden. Throughout our garden, you will see a lot of these big rocks. My husband and I just love them. They are natural, local rocks that my husband finds and brings to our garden. So we've just sort of placed them throughout as our own version of garden artwork. So this here is a gorgeous hickory tree. It's something we decided to keep when we were creating this garden. And underneath I have a few hostas and heucheras dotted throughout. I'm hoping to fill this in with more shade perennials in the coming years. And apologies again for the light. It's morning and the sun's just coming up. These are some pretty caladiums. We love caladiums. Those I do try and save the bulbs and plant year after year. They are not perennial here. They don't overwinter in 7A. These here are some gorgeous black calla lilies that I have overwintered a couple years now and replanted. The flowers are done now, but the foliage is gorgeous, and I'll occasionally use these in some of my cut arrangements. Here we have a Japanese maple. You'll see a lot of Japanese maples. My husband and I just love them. This is I believe it's a red emperor. And some more shade perennials. Now, you probably hear in the background some water, and this is probably the most popular part of our garden with my family. I have 3 kids. I want to thank you, Chase, for modeling it for us. This is a pond, a koi pond that my husband built all himself. It's still sort of a work in progress, but we love it. It's brought all sorts of creatures into our garden. We've seen tons of frogs and tadpoles in here, lizards, turtles, birds, garden cats, and we have 6 koi fish that I will introduce you to in another video. And you'll see back there some coleus. My husband loves coleus as well, and I do too. And I started some of that from seed. Sort of the bigger ones are actually the ones I started from seed this year. And we have a shorter Japanese maple here. We're hoping eventually they'll sort of cascade over that pond and create that sort of lush feeling, which is also the intent behind that creeping Jenny there you see on the waterfall. But one of our favorite spots to be at, and really sort of a cool spot, especially in these hot summers we get here in Charlottesville. And then moving on, you'll see some more beautiful shade perennials. I don't have a lot of annuals in this section. I love this pulmonaria. And you'll see here we have another Japanese maple. This is the coral bark, and I am very excited to see that beautiful bark color as this grows. Hopefully we'll bring some winter interest as well. More clematis. And a beautiful blue spruce that I got my husband for his birthday. And again, more heuchera. You'll notice a lot of that in the garden. I love heuchera. And some small, we have a few small hydrangeas that I'm hoping will take off. They're in their first year again. So a lot of our perennials, you know, they're not gonna, this isn't gonna be their amazing year. Hopefully by year 3 they'll really shine. This I'm really excited about. This is a tiger eyes sumac. It's gonna have some gorgeous fall color, and we didn't get to really see it last year because it was a new plant and not a ton of foliage, so I'm hoping I get to see a pretty show this year. But sumacs are native to our area as well. Some gorgeous echinacea. You can see here, oh, that's a 9 bark. I primarily planted that for cutting foliage. I'm really hurting for foliage this year, so it's something I'm going to be thinking about a lot next year. You can see the stakes for my dahlias here. And I planted tons and tons of celosia and more zinnias just to fill in this empty space and have something to cut off of. The soil on this part of the garden is especially bad. Now our soil back in the back of the garden isn't terrible. It's pretty loamy, but I think when our house was built, they brought in a lot of clay and it got really compacted. So the closer you get to the house, the more kind of compacted clay it becomes. And here's a beautiful, oh my gosh, of course the names of all these things are escaping me now that I'm doing the video. But this is I believe it's a Japanese pine, and it's gonna get a lot bigger, but not too much wider. Tons of my annuals. We have a crepe myrtle tree here we brought from our other house. It's been struggling, but it is a black diamond, which are hard to find in tree form in a large size. So we're trying to give it a chance. We'll see if it makes it. Something I'm very excited about is this red twig dogwood, which is loving its life in this horrible soil. So I'm glad we planted it here, but I'm hoping to have some nice red twigs, especially as it gets bigger, for some winter arrangements. We have, oh, I forgot to introduce, we have espalier pear trees. My youngest daughter, so I have 3 kids. She loves pears, so I have 2 espalier pears, one here and one back in the beginning. You could probably see it. Oh, maybe not. It's a little hard to see from here, but that's it over there. So we have 2 of those, and we have 2 cherries. This one's not loving its life. Really fingers crossed that this one will get bigger because I really want it to be able to pollinate the other one. But again, this is some of the worst soil. What is doing well here, we've got some verbena. Sedum notoriously likes not great soil. My husband got me seeds a couple holidays ago for this beautiful brain celosia. So we've got some of that, sort of fun. One of those things I plant to try and trick my kids into coming out in the garden and enjoying it with me. It's been very unsuccessful so far. Some gorgeous purple basil. It has flowered. There's a few flowers on it, but I have been trying to cut it for arrangements actually. I haven't used it a ton in cooking, only because I have tons and tons of the Genovese basil I planted for making pestos and basil salad dressing. And I will give you a separate tour of the vegetable garden, but here is sort of our main garden. And I hope you enjoyed this little July morning tour. Here's a sneak peek at my vegetable garden. Do you like the dead sweet peas right there? Gorgeous. You can tell I cleaned up really well for this video. And again, welcome to Olivia's Blooms. I hope you enjoyed this.